Give them a shot to do what?
You're watching and listening to the HSP podcast on the Give Shot Network. I am Jeff Martin alongside my tag team partner, the Trendsetter, Brian Burga. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we are on HSP. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Give us a shot, and also to make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss 1 second of HSP. If you can't watch us, join us and listen to us on all major podcast platforms. Trendsetter, we are alive. I have no idea what this thing was in New Year's that we got, but holy crap, it is good to be back here doing a podcast. We started the year with an amazing interview with the lovely and talented Nikki Blackheart, and then all went down from there. What a way to start the New Year's, Trendsetter. But I am glad to be back here, HSP, on Give Us a Shot, because let me tell you, man, it was absolutely brutal. And then guess what? Snowmageddon hit in the East Coast. So tonight and this weekend, hey, catch up on all your HSP, because we're going to be with you guys here with the episode here previewing Saturday night's main event, and also we'll have our post show on YouTube on the Give a Shot Network as well. So catch up with HSP this weekend, because we're all going to be snowed in, but Snowmageddon coming in. And Trendsetter, I'm glad that you're doing well too, because holy crap, I don't know what that was. I have no idea what that was, man.
I don't know what that was either. For me, it's just appropriate right now for me that I'm wearing this, because this is what I wore the last time we did the show. And knowing how bad I felt then, considering how I feel now, yeah, I'm not holding anything back anymore. It's like it's kind of to coin a phrase retribution. It's kind of like a second chance to do it well again, to serve this shirt that I had, which when we were doing the interview with Nikki Blackheart, I was miserable, as you could physically see. Compared to now, probably is not much of a difference, but my God, was I feeling horrible that day. So to wear it again, to feel better, close to 100%, because this thing kicked my ass. It really did.
Oh, and then it hit me and smacked me across the face. Now, the Trendsetter, I believe that you're still getting your wits about you, because you said retribution, and obviously you got to get your wits back. Retribution means you're going to get payback here, but this is going to be like your it's a chance to do over for you now in 2026 here, because it's a chance for us to start anew. And the funny thing is, the interview went so well with Nikki, and at that point I was feeling okay, but you were really fighting it, man. And I applaud you, because not only did we do that, but we did a double interview, because we were guests on the Zach Clayton podcast that's on the Give Shot Network too. A shout out to Mike Powers and Zach Clayton for having us on. But dude, you had to do double duty, and you were sick as a dog. You gutted it out. But every time I see that interview, I'm thinking, man, the Trendsetter was not long at all. And then I think about how later after I fell, because the studio's here, and germs are going to be germs, and thinking how quickly a couple days later I was down for the count. But just a hideous way to start January. But Trendsetter, I would tell you what, I'll tell you something. We are on that road once again, because now we are getting close. We're getting, well, maybe not on a car, but we have to go by plane. But the road to WrestleMania is here. Now we got to get through the snow. Hopefully we don't get snowed in, and hopefully, we survive this Snowmageddon. But after that, Trendsetter, you can see that light at the end of the tunnel, because we are on the road to WrestleMania. Next week begins our Royal Rumble preview. We'll have a few guests along the way, but full-on blast. We are on that road. But tonight, Trendsetter, tonight we are back, and we are previewing Saturday night's main event. Are you ready, Trendsetter?
Considering how the year ended and how it started and what's been so far, I would break down a live event card if possible. That's how much I want to dive into something like this. So let's go, man.
Break down TNA Impact Thursday? Well, but much better show this one. But let's start it off, Trendsetter. Now, 2 things this weekend. Again, it's a loaded weekend, because you've got the Championship Sunday, of course, in the NFL, but we've got a lot of stuff going on Saturday, Saturday's main event. But also, too, we've got the UFC 324 in Las Vegas, Nevada, the T-Mobile Center. Why is this such a big thing, Trendsetter? Why HSP? because HSP Media will be covering UFC and BKFC exclusively on HSP Media on our Instagram, but also as well, Trendsetter, it is the Paramount Plus era begins for the UFC. So basically, it used to be on ESPN, and now all the pay-per-views are gone, basically, and you just pay a fixed fee of streaming Paramount Plus, and you will get all your UFC content, just like you did with Peacock, and now you're going to do with ESPN. You're getting all your content on that platform. So what does it start with? It starts with Justin Gaethje and Patty Pennington, but a lot of stuff happened to Trendsetter on that on the weigh-ins, dude. Some scary stuff. And I mean, we're trying to find out what happened there, but one of the UFC fighters weighing in, I think he was trying to weigh in at 135, and then he just collapsed, man. And it was a scary moment there, because the first thing you think about is, oh, the cutting of the weight, right? And man, like, some of these people come in heavy, maybe 15 pounds, maybe with a few weeks to go before they weigh in, before their fight. And then they got to be in a quick scramble to like drop all the weight. They're using all these fat burners, wrapping up. I mean, I've seen even in situations where they're in the sauna for the longest time and they're just trying to cut the water and everything like that. It's not really the healthiest thing to do. Obviously, you've talked about this to me, and Zach Clayton can attest too, because he obviously is a fitness person, and it's not the ideal thing to do. So Cameron Smotherman was supposed to fight Ricky Tercio in one of the matches, but that got postponed after he basically weighed in, was walking off the stage, and he just collapsed. And it was a pretty scary scene, Trendsetter. And then we were trying to find out what happened, and we found out he actually sent out a message thanking all the fans for their concern. And he said he really didn't have to cut a lot of weight. He basically said that he doesn't know what happened. He's going to have to run a few tests. And hopefully we send our thoughts and prayers, and hopefully it's nothing. It could have been, I can't even say what happened, but pretty scary scene at the weigh-ins for UFC 324.
Yeah, listen, I mean, and like you said, Cameron posted out a message about him, feeling better. Thankfully he was okay, even after that hit that he fainted, falling face first. So that was scary. But considering all of that, first initial thing you're going to think of, like you just said, is about weight. Did he miss weight? Did he cut too much? I mean, he weighed in at 135.5, I believe, for the bantamweight division. So he did make weight, because you have like a 0.5 differential to make weight. So he did that, but just looked in terrible shape. And I don't think, again, that's the first thing you want to talk about in terms of weight. Oh, the weight cut is so drastic. He says no. Again, sometimes fighters will, sometimes be their own worst enemies and say, no, everything was fine, but we don't know internally the damage you're doing, depending on how much you have to drop to get to that point. Now, sometimes most people are over 10, 20 pounds real quick, and they lose a lot of water weight. I'm not saying and implying that's what he did, but usually it's always the dangerous avenue as you get into fight week and get ready for the weigh-ins, that you do that and don't allow your body enough time to recuperate, and you're dehydrating yourself. I'm not saying that's what he did, but that's what everyone's always going to think and assume. But listen, the life of a fighter, Jeff, I've told you this. It's not easy, man. I mean, we talk about pro wrestling, the traveling schedule, and the punishment you put through your body, the punishment that these fighters put their body through in terms of camps and, going from place to place, because it's not just one area. Sometimes you have to go to certain other areas for traveling, and then watching your weight, and then making sure you're not injured, and just doing media appearances. It weighs a lot out of you, and the body can only take so much stress. So that might be it. We'll find out more of what happened officially as the time goes by. But man, listen, that was just not a good sign. Perfectly fine that this fight was canceled. Should not be continued on, because sometimes you have to save the fighters from themselves.
Oh, you really do. And obviously he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, and probably really wanted this one really badly. So again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to assume stuff, whatever, because, just be not responsible on my end or your end, but could be nerves. And hopefully it's not anything that has to do with the brain or anything like that. Nothing neurological. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but you just pray
butcher names a lot myself.
Neurological. So there you go. And you just pray for the fighter and hope he's fine. But man, he face planted, and then caught everyone off guard, caught Michael Bisping off guard, because he was just talking about how he doesn't actually feel sympathy for the fighters, because some of these guys are doing it last minute and they're doing all these things. And Bisping is a respected fighter, and obviously he carries some weight, but obviously wrong timing, bad spot to do it, because he basically just collapses after he talks about basically not feeling sorry for these guys for cutting weight. And it's obviously everywhere.
In all fairness, Jeff, it is your job. It's your job to make weight. You're going to be a professional. So not implying for him, but other fighters don't make it. And then there's always this issue with, again, like I talked about, dropping or cutting too much water weight before a fight. That's dangerous. But again, if you're professional and you do it the right way, it shouldn't be an issue. Or in this scenario, in this case, just real quick, a lot of fighters sometimes want to go down to a very low weight so that when they rehydrate, they're bigger and stronger because they'll naturally walk around that way. So maybe it might be a signal that bantamweight might not be a best place for him in this stage of his career.
Now, again, he's saying that he didn't have to cut that crazy weight, but I guess my last question to you would be, and again, just maybe what you think is you're a little bit more expert on this MMA stuff than I am, is why, or boxers, because the only person I knew that had this issue, I think, that really was kind of like publicized was the late Ricky Hatton. He would just gain all this weight afterwards, and then it'd be tough for him to cut the weight when it was the time of the fight. I don't recall anybody that like that in the MMA fields, whatever. Just again, I'm just a novice right now, but why do you think it is that they wait so long for this to happen? Why can't they just, obviously, if they are in the camp and they're training, why do they kind of wait that long? And obviously they have people there that are checking on him and everything like that. Why do you think there's a desperation so fast to do it the week of and not do it in a more kind of responsible way where, hey, if the camp is 6 weeks and we got to get here, why not do it in like, hey, let's do it in this cycle where we drop this much, and then you're fine for the fight week? Is it just different camps, different ideas, or just maybe the fighter themselves? Like, I would not do it personally. I would try to do it in a way where I can like not try to not pass out or anything like that, or have to do it gradually. Yeah, I just don't understand why some of the fighters, I guess it might be preference, Trendsetter, but you tell me why.
Well, look, I'm not going to call myself an expert in this too, but from what I've looked at, because I've seen a lot of cases, whether it be in boxing or I've seen it in mixed martial arts, especially in the UFC, where fighters have missed weight and it's been dangerous, and there have been lots of back and forth discussions about, as an example, real quick, prior, several years before, a scenario that would happen is that most fighters, after they have a weight cut, a drastic weight cut, like we just saw on several fighters, like I'll just throw it out there, Conor McGregor, who used to fight at 145, which is lightweight. It was really tough on him. They would IV themselves to rehydrate themselves. And most people thought that that was kind of an issue because you don't know what's inside the IVs, and it could be some issues with performance enhancing. This is before USADA, the whole drug administration, happened for the UFC. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is that you're asking me the question, why do fighters wait so long or a week before fight starts or the weigh-ins to do this? For the very mere reason that I've looked at a lot of podcasts, spoken to a lot of fighters. I've listened to, Chael Sonnen, Daniel Cormier talk about this kind of stuff too. It's that when you're in training camp for about 9 to 10 weeks. And what you want to do is you actually want to train at your body weight. So you want to not deal with a dieting issue while you're in training camp, because when you're in training camp, and let's say, for example, you're starting to minimize the calories you're taking in, you're going hard and intense during training camp. So you actually need all the energy you can get. So most fighters prefer to stay at their natural weight. They will do what you said. They'll do diets. They'll go progressionally lose weight as they approach it, but it won't be as drastic. And the easiest thing for fighters to do, as much as it is damaging to the body, and we've seen videos on YouTube for fighters trying to get ready and they just can't make it because they physically can't do it anymore, they dehydrate themselves. So they balloon themselves up drinking water, and then a week before they do this, and then right after, like the week or 2 weeks before fight camp, it's just water weight. They're diminishing what they're eating, and then they're just losing water, because that is the fastest way. You could do it a gradual way, but when you do the gradual way from a 9-week or 10-week camp, it's just impossible to do that without fatiguing the body, and they need their fighters at 100% to go all out, to just sacrifice a week. So, because usually the last week or 2 weeks of before a fight starts, these guys aren't going intense anymore. They're just kind of going through the motions. They're just doing warm-ups. They're trying not to injure themselves. So the hard part's over, And that's where they do it. They rather keep the person energetic and at their full body weight and healthy at that point through the most intense sessions of training camp. And the final one say, you know what, we've got 20 pounds to lose, 15 pounds to lose. Let's just dehydrate ourselves because then we can balloon back up again and you'll be ready for the fight. That's the theory behind whether you're doing boxing or MMA. I'm not in agreement with it. I would like to do it in your sense, the gradual way. But listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Meaning that's a formula that's been implanted so long that I doubt it's going to change anytime soon. And when you see scenarios like that, which again, it probably is not related to weight cut, but again, we've seen so many scenarios you and I have watched on YouTube or Instagram where fighters are weighing in and they look worse than I did, Jeff, when I was sick. And that's hard to say.
Yeah,
they look terrible. And you're like, it's just a matter of time for something really bad happens.
Yeah, it's not too fun, man. And so that's why, I asked that question and why each fighter has their preference. So that's obviously something that we hope that Cameron is okay. Obviously, he said he is. So we'll see what happens as he does more tests. But obviously, he's a guy that wants to get in there as fast as possible. And obviously, he's coming off 2-fight losing streak. So hopefully, everything's okay with him. But that was just scary seeing at the weigh-in. But obviously, the main event is Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pennington. Obviously, a 6-week layoff for the UFC, which is kind of weird. So the people who are MMA fans were kind of missing the UFC, and they come back with this one on Paramount. How big of a deal now, Trendsetter's UFC on Paramount Plus?
Listen, I think it's a big deal no matter what happens. I mean, there was a big deal when they're on ESPN. And you thought because of the merger with ESPN that all this promotion that was going to happen on SportsCenter and them promoting, again, ESPN Plus wasn't as successful because when you really look at it early on when the partnership started, there was heavy promotion for it, but then not so much. So I think this deal is great for UFC in terms of it allows them to go on another platform. And listen, we all know, and we could talk hours and hours about the deal with Netflix and Paramount and what they're trying to acquire and things of that nature. But with Warner Brothers, and that's a whole another discussion for another day. But I think it's good for the UFC. I mean, listen, they're obviously separating themselves from a juggernaut, in my opinion, which is ESPN. Let's be honest. In my professional opinion, ESPN really isn't doing that much in terms of promoting them. So now they're going on a scenario similar to when they cut a TV deal with Spike TV, and you're thinking, what's going to happen here? And then they move to TNN, and they go to another network. That, or with Fox, for example, that just tends to happen with UFC. They tend to not necessarily overstay their welcome, but whenever they go to a newer platform, they're promised the world and it doesn't work out. I think it's a fresh start. Good for Paramount to bring in the UFC because they have their dedicated audience and people that want to come in. And also now this is the first time in the sense, and I'll mention wrestling in this aspect, Jeff, where it's kind of revolutionized everything, especially with the streaming platform now. The days of the pay-per-view, I think, are completely dead now. It's all a streaming platform, and you pay a service to see this. I don't know what that does in terms of revenue for the company and in terms for the fighters too, because sometimes the fighters do get a portion of of that payoff of how many people are actually buying the pay-per-view. But yeah, it's gonna get worse from here on for the fighters.
So obviously it's good and bad, because you have to pay for the pay-per-views. Obviously the main gripe with ESPN Plus was you have to get ESPN Plus and also still buy the pay-per-view. So you're seeing the prelims and stuff like that, but you weren't really able to watch the pay-per-view here. They said there's fixed prices. I think there's a yearly thing for $60, and I think you can break it down even to low as $9. Again, don't quote me on that, but I mean, it's good for the fan that you get to watch it. You can pay it for the year, and then you're not paying $60. I don't even know what the price was at the time, $40, $60 for the pay-per-view. Now you don't have to do that. Now you just pay one price. But it's really, to find all these things now is crazy, man. And I'm a little old school where okay, I find it. Now I got to change. I got to find 7 platforms for the NFL. Now I'm paying over $200. If I want to watch the NFL in the season, I got to pay like $200 on all these streamings because Netflix, Amazon, all these different things that it's going to be on. And now with WWE, which is on Netflix and on ESPN, it's crazy, man. Like all these streaming platforms, which again,
just to interrupt you there was a standard price of $79.99 was the
okay.
price.
All right, cool. Perfect. And now I will give credit to Vince McMahon, though. He had this idea from the start. To me, he was the founding father of these streaming platforms, putting the WWE Network on that platform. And they were like, who's going to do this? Who's going to watch all Wrestling Network? Oh, who's going to stream stuff? And today, if you ask people now, they miss the WWE Network because the stuff is moved off on Peacock. It's on YouTube now. If you want to find the library, you got to go to Netflix. I don't like the way you got to scroll for it. It's kind of weird. And then on YouTube, you have to find these things. But the days of your convenience now is out the door. And I'm starting to question too, why do I still have cable? That's going to be a thing of the past as well. In the next 10 years, maybe shorter than that, cable will be by the wayside. And I still question, why am I paying for cable too? And it's just getting pricier and pricier for the fan though. So, but for now, though, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade here. Enjoy UFC 324. And then just your predictions, Trendsetter, because the main event, Justin Gaethje and Patty Pennington, who you got and why?
Oh, wow. That's going to be it's Patty the Batty against Justin Gaethje. Listen, Justin Gaethje's
I have to call you Brian the Batty because you're so bad, Trendsetter.
That was pretty bad. And this one, listen, I got to go with as much as Justin Gaethje has been a staple of the UFC, especially in that division. This is for the interim lightweight title. It's been vacated, so it's like it's a big deal in terms of who's going to carry that division. And that division's had some pretty impressive people. Just real quick, I've mentioned a few. Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor are just ones that if you're an MMA fan or a UFC fan, you know who those two are. And it's just I'm sorry, Jose Aldo's a featherweight, but again, he did fight at lightweight. But again, its division's been known for some stars, and Patty right now, he's just been on a roll. I mean, a lot of people have questioned him in terms of his ability to strike because he's been more, a stand-up fighter, but also could he be taken down in wrestling and be more technical. But with these two, you don't worry about anybody going down and going for a wrestling hold or going for a guillotine or submission. These two are going to stand and strike.
Okay.
And I think it's just Patty's time right now. So I got him winning this one. I don't listen. It's hard to knock out Justin. Max Holloway knocked him out in the center of the ring in a 5-round fight, I believe, with the last second going and knocked him out, which is difficult to do. I don't think this is going to go for a knockout. I think it's going to be standing on their feet for 5 rounds. And I think I got Patty winning over Justin Gaethje in a unanimous decision. So that's who I got winning.
When they did the face-off, it was funny because they went face-to-face, and Justin, I guess, underestimated how tall Patty was.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, he looked at him and was like, oh, my God. He's like, I thought he was wearing, like, these lifts or sneakers, whatever like that. It was pretty funny, though. So he is.
It wasn't just that, but it was also his size.
His size, yeah.
He is big, but he's very much, as he's lost the weight, too. And he's had issues with weight as well. He's never missed weight, but he's has issues because when he's not fighting, he balloons up. He is so much bigger. So
I think when I see him, I think of Roddy Piper automatically. When I'm trying to transition into wrestling, I think of Roddy so much, and he's a guy I think would be great in pro wrestling too. So all these guys, obviously, I think Justin Gaethje too has also got that personality as well. But when I see Patty the Batty Pennington, I think of Roddy Piper.
Who do you got in this one? Do you got Justin or Patty?
Dude, I'm just going by size because again, this is more, right? So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn this stuff because again, we got BKFC coming up February 7th, Knucklemania 6. We started doing that. I got to get more into whatever because I got to start talking about it too. But just by the size, I'm gonna go with Patty here, man. I'm gonna go with him. And I do believe, like you said, I do agree. I think it's gonna be like. It's going to be like they're still going to be standing up. Yeah. So I think it's going to be something like that.
I'm not going to go down for anything. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. So I think it's going to be that. I think Patty Pennington's gonna beat him. Will he knock him out? I don't think. I don't know. But I think it's going to be like just striking. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a good intro to Paramount era, to the Paramount Plus era for UFC. So we're looking forward to that.
Oh, and it's going to be an entertaining fight, man, because these guys are just going to go at each other. So it's going to be fun. Nobody's going to dodge anything. They're going after each other.
Plus, the UFC is back, so good for them. And again, to remind you guys, I know the Trendsetter was talking about cutting weight and energy and stuff like that. We want to remind you guys that HSP is powered up by Bucked Up Energy. HSP is sponsored by Bucked Up Energy. And again, you can check out all these amazing codes and check out all these offers from Bucked Up and HSP on our Instagram, and check out the code as well too. And then again, we will leave the code now. I promise you this time for this episode, we'll leave the code for you guys to use it on our description too. So stay tuned for that. But HSP is powered by Bucked Up Energy Drinks. All right, Trendsetter. Let's talk about Saturday night's main event. A lot of stuff going on in WWE. A lot of people are now still going into 2026. people are still need that story, that thing to get them excited. And like I told you, man, it's been a long time since WWE has kind of captivated us. We're talking about WrestleMania 40 here. We're talking about maybe just a few weeks after WrestleMania 40. And then after that, it's just been, I'll tell you when, after the new year, 2025, when you had the Netflix era begin, to me, that's when WWE kind of, to me, in my opinion, just lost that vibe, man, that vibe that made me want to watch. And now to me, it's mostly kind of background stuff. And I don't know how you feel about it. You'll get definitely into this. But as we start 2026, SmackDown is looking better, even though it's 3 hours now. So it's their responsibility to make more stars. You've seen stars like Trick Williams come up and Jordan Grace now stepping up to Jade Cargill. You've seen you got to bring the youth in. And then, of course, Raw being carried by CM Punk. Seth Rollins hopefully comes back by WrestleMania. We're going to see some returns. John Cena, of course, left in 2025. So this year, 2026, was basically our first show coming back. There's a lot to discuss. We're going to talk about a few things before Saturday night's main event, and that is basically, we're getting to an AJ Styles retirement at the Rumble, which we'll have our preview next week. And we're getting to Powerhouse Hobbs signing with WWE. And, AEW trying to get better. And they had this whole issue with Trey Miguel this past week, where now he's back with TNA Impact after signing with AEW and the Rascals. Now he's not part of it anymore. Whether you want to believe it's an MJF politic push or maybe past discretions of him and his comments he made that kind of from his past led him to be, listen, there's no above power. It's Tony Khan who made the decision to release Trey Miguel. But there's a lot of stuff in wrestling, Trendsetter, that, as we try to cover this in 2026, a lot of things are leading us to the road to WrestleMania. And now, Trendsetter, we can talk about Saturday night's main event. But before we do, though, just your thoughts of 2026. Do you feel that vibe coming back, or do you still think that there's a lot of work to do?
I think there's a lot of work to do still. I mean, if you're going to tell me right now, sitting here talking to you, that I have that excitement, I have the excitement in terms of what can be, but what WWE has shown me in terms of programming has not gotten me excited for WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble approach right now. Now, there are certain things that may or could happen. Again, I'll try to be optimistic as much as I can with this. But if right now I was going to be honest with myself and say, listen, bro, are you excited for WrestleMania? Yes, I'm excited for the idea of what might happen. As much as I say it's still a long road from that, it's going to happen pretty fast. We're on the verge where it's going to happen soon. We're going to hit the Royal Rumble, and then all signs are pointing towards WrestleMania, and then all the gloves are off in terms of that. But still, from WrestleMania 40, and again, I hate to make comparisons here because you can't compare one from the other. Just the road to get there was appealing and enjoyable in terms of long-term story booking, that I could be intrigued, that I could be interested in, that I could still be. I mean, listen, as we know, SmackDowns and Raws, they're not all going to be home runs, right? But as you build towards something, you can see the vision, or no pun intended, you could see the idea of where they're trying to go. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. Here, I really have no idea, and I'm hoping that as we approach Royal Rumble and we get there after Saturday night's main event and we see what's going to lead into Royal Rumble, that we'll have that idea. But in terms of excitement, there's nothing there right now that I'm excited for.
We'll definitely talk about Unreal in the coming weeks. We'll definitely spend some time on that as season 2 debuted on Netflix, with now season 3 lurking in the summertime, which will focus on John Cena. Looking forward to that. So there's a lot to discuss as we try to catch up with you guys here, because I'm telling you, January started like, I don't know, like hell on earth for HSP here, and we're back. Glad to be with you guys, but a lot to catch up on. So we will definitely get that as we're on the road to WrestleMania. All right, Trendsetter, Saturday night's main event from Montreal, Canada, at the Bell Center, at the Centre de Bell, as they say in Canada up there. And SmackDown obviously leads into Saturday night's main event. 4 matches slated, and we're going to go with Team Rio versus Team Liv Rock. It's going to be Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez challenging for the women's tag team titles against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. I don't think there's a reason to take the tag team titles off of Io and Rhea, unless Rhea is going to get now that singles push maybe for the championship. I'm not sure. This is a tough one to tell. I would personally like to see how Liv and Roxanne go with it. I just don't think on the first title defense, Io and Rhea are going to lose. So I'm going to pick Team Rio defeating Liv Morgan and Roxanne. But I would prefer for Liv Morgan and Roxanne to walk away with the tag team championships, only to just throw it in the face of Finn Balor, who couldn't get the job done against CM Punk in his hometown in Belfast, Ireland. So that would kind of add a little bit more tension with the Judgment Day. But I don't see that happening. I see them coming up short because I just don't think they would just take the belts off of Rio and Io on their first title defense.
Listen, so for the first prediction of 2026, we are actually agreeing on this one too. Damn, what a horrible way to start 2026. It keeps getting worse, Jeff. But no,
the way we started 26 was a horrible way. This to me is just easy peasy, dude. Oh, we agree. Okay, we have 11 more months to disagree.
I'd rather be sick. I'm sorry.
Man.
No, with this one, yeah, I just think right now, as much as I'm sure a lot of people would love to see Rhea back in the singles competition and actually going for a world title or a WWE women's title, I think right now, as we're approaching WrestleMania, I don't really think there's a spot open for Rhea. I'm not saying that you can't be in it, but right now I think the way it's going, it surprises me, Jeff, and it literally shocks me sometimes to think that the WWE, Jeff, is paying so much more attention and trying to build this women's tag team division, which was nothing for a long period of time. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is actually kind of working because although you're pitting single stars together and forming them as tag teams, there is some level of importance here because they're making it from whether you're watching SmackDown or Raw, the women's tag team championships as a focal point of things that people want. Whether you're on SmackDown, it's Nia Jax and help me.
Lash Legend.
Lash Legend. Again, I didn't want to butcher the name, but Lash Legend and Nia Jax. Then you have Charlotte and Alexa wanting a rematch. Then you have other teams around, and you just mentioned Liv Morgan now and Roxanne Perez. So they're building teams to create the significance and importance. And let's not forget about the Kabuki Warriors as well. This is kind of interesting. And I'm like, why can't they do this with the men's tag team division? But in the retrospective things going on here, I don't think it's the right time because I think for Io and Rhea, if they were to separate or one were to turn their back on each other, I think it's far too early for that. I think they should be chased again. And I think, like I said, I think it's also going to create tension within the Judgment Day of what happened with Finn and now Liv and Roxanne failing at that. You also have, the issue with the women's championship with, your girl and, another member of the Judgment Day. So it's like it's just impeding in itself right now, and I don't think they should lose it. So I got Rhea and Io winning this one.
So I think that there has been, for some reason, a special onus on the tag team titles for the women's, and that's great. And it's taken away from competitors for Stephanie Vaquer because it's taken a lot of dream matches kind of away from her. And obviously the injury didn't help her out any. So it's kind of been a so-so title run for Stephanie Vaquer. Obviously could have been a lot more had she had more people to fight. So I don't think Nikki Bella did her any favors. I don't think the triple threats with Raquel Rodriguez, but I think that somebody needed to step up. In the last few weeks, Raquel Rodriguez, to me, in my eyes, has stepped up. She's been a pleasant surprise. Her promo last time around was pretty good. And the whole big sexy thing, obviously, taking it from Kevin Nash, who really helped her out in giving her advice of, hey, listen, you're this big, physically fit woman here. You gotta fight that way. And ever since that happened, she's taken that advice. She's just gone to another level. And so we'll see. But it has taken away from opponents for Stephanie Vaquer. And Becky Lynch has kind of been in that Intercontinental Championship run where she's tried to make stars like Maxine Dupree. And, Maxine Dupree, to me, honestly, sometimes I'm a little higher and then lower because she has a good showing, and then, the last time she got in the ring, not so much, but, she's up and down. They just have to make more stars in the singles division, and I think it's kind of hurt Stephanie Vaquer, but in the other way, the tag team division just works out so much better. So we agree on that one, Trendsetter. How about this one? One last time, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura on Saturday Night's Main Event. Now, can they right the wrong of WrestleMania in New Orleans? No, because obviously that was the one that everyone was looking for. Couldn't wait for. We were there in New Orleans for that matchup, and we were like a little bit underwhelmed. We were all thinking of Wrestle Kingdom. We're all thinking of their New Japan battles, and it fell flat to me. Yes, they had the Shinsuke Nakamura heel turn, but Shinsuke lost a lot of steam after that after that match, and I think he won the Rumble too, right? That was the year he won the Royal Rumble, and he chose AJ Styles. Not that I want to see AJ Styles lose, but just we had this expectation that it was going to be something that from Wrestle Kingdom. We saw the tapes and we were all excited for it, and it just didn't live up to the billing for some reason. And now, years later, where AJ Styles is winding it down, and hopefully it's not at the Rumble, but it looks that way. We're gonna get it one last time, and with Nakamura also too, like not being highlighted as much. This is, to me, obviously, this is a nostalgic one here, and hopefully they get the time. And I'm going to just say, I hope AJ Styles wins because he's on his way out. AJ Styles should win. So I got AJ Styles beating Nakamura. But we all know that the matchup that we wanted to see was at 34, I believe, in New Orleans. And it didn't live up to the billing. Hopefully they can make us forget that. And one last time with Nakamura and AJ, the history there too. I'm looking forward to it. But again, though, the time to do it, when they did it, just to me, just was totally underwhelming at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans.
Listen, something I've learned in life, Jeff, is that when you set expectations for anything, you're always going to be disappointed. And that's what happened at WrestleMania, right? Because we
write a book, Trendsetter.
Exactly. And I can't read books very well, so I always listen to them on audio, on Audible, which should sponsor the show, by the way. Maybe one day. But when you set up the expectation that we wanted Shinsuke AJ from Wrestle Kingdom, where we're going to be disappointed because it just wasn't the atmosphere, wasn't the build up like it was for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this one, it's kind of, like you said, it's nostalgic. For me, it's also very sad because it probably is going to be the last time these two will face each other because AJ is going to go. Who knows how much longer Nakamura plans on doing this, right? So it is kind of sad that, this is probably the last time we see Nakamura and AJ Styles in the ring. But what's also said about it to me personally is that we just finished, it seems like an eternity, but this huge buildup towards John Cena and his retirement and just all the stuff that we're posting on Instagram. And I'll give you so much credit for this one, Jeff, believe it or not, I will, in terms of stuff you did there. And it just got so much traction because people just were like in a feeling of just wanting to give thanks to John Cena. And I don't think the same thing has been reciprocated to AJ Styles. And I don't need AJ Styles to be given a retirement tour and for people to kind of pull out the red carpet like they did for John Cena. Maybe that's something AJ doesn't want. But if you're telling me right now that AJ Styles, this is going to be your last year, which is going to be 2026, we don't know when. It might be at the Rumble, like you said. And I know that I only got you for limited time. Wouldn't I want to use you? Now, if you're Triple H, probably in WWE, in terms of the way they think creatively now, they're going to be like, well, we only need John Cena for 20-something dates. That's it. But you're not even the equivalent of that with AJ Styles. Every good match he's had, he hasn't been promoted for it. It's been a last-minute thing, especially that match with John Cena that he had in Australia. Like, honestly, we couldn't have built this up better. We couldn't have done a better job. He's been used so sparingly. I'm like, why would you? Why would you not want to use him? If you're not going to use him in terms of giving him a run, which I still think he should have been given a run, whether it be for the Intercontinental title, and he did kind of with Dominic Mysterio. And again, we don't need him to win the title, but to put him in that level,
with Dragon Lee,
to put him in that level in terms of importance, they've done that with the Intercontinental title and with the tag team titles. But come on, no offense to Dominic, I love Dominic, Dragon Lee, and the tag team division. They're doing everything they can to keep it from dying a slow death, which it's dying right now. The men's tag team division. You can't tell me, Jeff, you cannot do more with AJ Styles than what you're doing so far.
Yeah, that's why I think.
And for Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles to just be pitted in like, hey, we need a fourth match. What can we do? Hey, AJ and Shinsuke aren't doing anything. Hey, guys, go have a match real quick. Like, really? Is that what we're doing here? For guys like Shinsuke and AJ, that they shouldn't be given, in my opinion, the proper respect of just building up a story. I'm not saying that they shouldn't lose and they're being booked this way. That doesn't matter to me. But in my opinion, given the respect of, can we build towards something? Can we not just put in a spot filler, which is what this kind of feels like? As much as I'm excited to see it, and in my opinion, they should have no pressure. So hopefully get a better match than they did at WrestleMania. There should be no pressure on them right now. They can do whatever they want because they're going to have the time. If you can have a fourth match, you're just going to put this together. I feel that's kind of like, a slap in the face in a way.
Yeah, this 0 for 2 as far as runs to me. While the John Cena farewell tour drew money like crazy, and watching the Unreal and watching everyone, especially John Cena, give his reasoning for stuff, and stuff fell through, and that's fine. But the one thing that bothers me is watching Unreal and watching them trying to pivot back to John Cena being a good guy again and turning face, and just watching Bruce Pritchard in his blank stare because is one of his goddamn brilliant ideas to be like, hey, and one thing I've noticed about this is like they're so driven now to make moments because now they're worried about it's too predictable. And again, I'm going off on a tangent here because it just bothers me. But seeing that blank look on Pritchard's face about like, well, yeah, I got to go back to being a face, John Cena, it should have never happened that way because it just made no sense. And the same thing I'm going to go with AJ Styles. Now, if you knew his contract was up in February and it was going to be the Royal Rumble, I would have extended AJ to like April at least, so he has his farewell at WrestleMania or something. Maybe AJ Styles didn't want to, but I'd be like, AJ, listen, it's just a few more months. Do it the right way. But just to me, the respect is just, I don't know where it is for AJ Styles. Listen, if it's going to end against Gunther,
from the fans, there's respect from the fans.
I don't know, but I just don't know about the company, man. And I told you at Saturday's main event, he was there, part of Cena's final match. He was there with Dragon Lee, and they defended the tag team titles and all that. But I told you there that I wondered if AJ had lost his fastball, which I'll eat crow there, where he's actually, he's wrestled better the few weeks after that too. But again, give the guy his proper farewell, man. Give him a tour. I wanted a tour. Okay, because let the fans say thank you, man, and let it go. If you're gonna be this thing, I don't need dates and all that stuff, whatever. Fine, just show up for each Pelly till WrestleMania, and then give him a proper match there. Have him fight Gunther there, and have him tap out again, whatever, and all that thing, whatever. But just give the man a proper farewell. Don't just put him in Nakamura as a throw-in a day before Saturday night's main event, because it's just a disservice. This is something that it's not that kind of match where you can just put in a day. Obviously, because it's AJ and Shinsuke, obviously it's going to be, people are going to be curious and want to see it. But you got to give this a proper build, and it hasn't. There's a lot of stuff that's really irked me about WWE recently. And, you want to watch Unreal, there's a lot of stuff there that irks me too, which we will definitely get into. But this is one of these things too, the way they promote the stuff and the way they're about moments and the way they've just changed philosophies all of a sudden. I don't know why. The story, it just, going back to AJ Styles, to me, I'm looking forward to the match, but it's not getting the respect and build that it deserves. And that's basically the whole gist of it too, man. Will I watch it? Of course. Can they deliver? I believe they will. But the match to do it was at WrestleMania 34, and then this had no hype at all. And to me, it doesn't get the respect it deserves. All right, Trendsetter, we go now to Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes. And I tell you, man, Jacob Fatu now, who, thank God now, all those injuries and all the dental work is finally over with. And now hopefully we see the real Jacob Fatu. And I was impressed by his promo against Cody Rhodes. He really stood in there. But what I am trying to figure out is, where is Cody Rhodes headed? Because Cody Rhodes now and Jacob Fatu will take we'll have this matchup at Saturday night's main event. But Cody bringing up a lot of stuff that a face wouldn't do. He's pushing that edge of what are we to make of Cody Rhodes? Are we pulling for him because he's kind of leading to that heel, but he won't? But he's just teasing because that'll make us root for him, hoping that he does. Or are they going to go heel with Cody? I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're making us root for this kind of like Cody with attitude, but in a good way, because he brings up Jacob Fatu's going to jail and stuff like that. And I think they're trying to make Cody a little bit edgier, but I like the interaction between them. And you have this matchup too, where it's like it's a brand new matchup here, and this is a good one to me. I don't see Cody Rhodes losing to Jacob. I think Jacob's gonna have a good showing, but I think Cody Rhodes gets the victory because he's Cody. He's a QB1. But I like their interaction that they had this time around, and I am looking forward to the match at Saturday night's main event. But I think Cody's going to win. But you, Trendsetter, though, do you see Cody's getting a little bit edgier? It's kind of tricking the fan that are rooting for him to kind of turn heel, but he's not going to. But they kind of like this edgier Cody.
I find it's hilarious the fact that we're agreeing so much on things here, but it's scary actually.
I read your notes. I read your notes, by the way, dude. So
if you read my notes, meaning you read my mind, then Jeff, you read my mind, my friend. Listen, I find it hilarious. First of all, I thought that segment was really good. I really liked it because it showed Jacob's personality. And I think Jacob has been since day one with the company, whether it be the look about him and then have the ability to just speak and talk, which we've seen him before his time in WWE. He has that ability to speak and talk. Just to me, when I look at Jacob Fatu in terms of delivering in the ring and delivering on the microphone or doing a promo or a segment, just home run, man. Home runs because he's being authentically himself. And that to me is what's so believable and what gets, in my opinion, people to either root for you or root against you, but at least they're invested in you because you come off as real and authentic, which is something that we think it's so easy, but it is difficult for a lot of people to do, right? To connect with the audience in that way. When I look at Cody, I just find it so funny. I loved what Cody said. I love the way he talked and the way he said it. And even actually blaming it, and now a white meat babyface wouldn't say it, right? But actually blaming, you're the reason I don't have the WWE Undisputed Championship. It's your fault. Yeah, not just excuses, but stating it how it is. And what I find funny about this, and I've seen a lot of people online talking about that promo and how Cody was acting to what you were telling me, referring to. But Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't the GOAT, as we all call him, John Cena, is the kind of person who is a white meat babyface that would take shots at people and get personal with them too, and people loved it. But for some reason, people are looking at Cody, he's like, oh, is he turning heel? Well, maybe he's pulling a John Cena. Maybe he's like, you know what? Enough's enough. I've been pushed around. I've been trying to do the right thing. I've been trying to be nice. I've been trying to be the good old quarterback. And you know what? Every day I'm going to work really, really, really hard. You know what? Screw it. I'm still going to be all those things, but I'm not going to not be me as well. If you push my buttons or you say something that offends me or annoys me or downright pisses me off, you're going to hear it. So I love that from Cody. Now, is that a sign for me specifically, Jeff, that he's going to start turning heel or they're kind of teasing it? Maybe for some, not necessarily for me, because I've seen John Cena, the one who's been the best at doing it, taking shots at people. Took shots at Miz, took shots at Roman, took shots at AJ Styles, took shots at John Moxley when he was Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, got personal with people. Look what he said to Austin Theory in terms of, I don't believe you when they're piping in sound during your matches. And you're like, babyface wouldn't say that. But again, I'm not trying to compare John Cena with Cody Rhodes, but if he's going to be passing the torch to Cody, Cody's going to be like, you know what? I'm still going to hold on to my beliefs, but like you said, I'm going to tell you things that people don't have the balls to say to your face. And he said it to Jacob Fatu. So I applaud him for that.
Yeah. And who you got? You got Cody or Jacob?
Believe it or not, we talked about wins and losses here. This is where we'll disagree. I actually think Jacob Fatu is going to win this one. I really do.
Cody can't lose too, brother. There's no way. No way. That's Triple H with the big blue on. Yeah, no, that doesn't work for my QB1. No, and there's no way. I don't think that he loses 2 in a row.
Jeff, then explain to me, how does that hurt your QB1 if he just loses the second one? I suppose you have a big return for Jacob Fatu, and he loses straight to Cody Rhodes. I mean, wouldn't it mean more for Jacob to win this one?
It doesn't hurt Cody. You're right about that. But you know what? Triple H, that's his boy. You've seen it tons of times. That's his boy. He said it. He said it on Unreal. He's done, well, I don't know if he said it, but he's done everything but say it in that Unreal. And there's no way his QB1 is losing back to back to Jacob Fatu. It's going to be a good showing for Jacob, but Cody Rhodes gets the victory in the end. All right, Trendsetter, we got the fatal 4-way match. The winner will be the number 1 contender for Drew McIntyre's champ. Congratulations, Drew McIntyre, by the way. We did not get to talk on this. I said it before on the show that I was starting to lose faith in Drew McIntyre. He wasn't believable to me as a viable champion because he had lost so much. But kudos to QB1 for pushing for the title switch in that 3 stages of hell match. And to me, just look at Drew McIntyre. He is everything a champion should be, man. And in a heel way, it resonates on Drew. He just, the way he carried the first day he came out with the championship and the pyro and the entrance with the bagpipes, and the man was in all his glory. He looked happy. It looked like his hard work pay off, because we were talking about it, Trendsetter. We were talking about, when is the hard work going to pay off? When is he going to get his due? And he did. And now it looks like he's walking into WrestleMania as the Undisputed Champion. And he now will look and see who his opponent will be. It's either going to be Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, Trick Williams, who can, by the way, looks like a megastar since his debut. This guy, to me, the sky's the limit for Trick. And this is a guy that people said, some people in the media were saying that, oh, this guy doesn't seem to be a star or he can't wrestle, whatever. Well, Trick Williams is all that and more because he is just coming off with this aura since he's been there. And, and Randy Orton. So it's Fatal 4-Way. The winner becomes the number one contender. It's in Montreal, Trendsetter, and the way when you saw SmackDown, the way it led to, I got to think it's Sami Zayn who's going to come out victorious. I think Sami Zayn in his hometown in Montreal, Canada, is going to be the number one contender and going to face Drew at the Royal Rumble. I love for it to be Randy. Trick, I think his time will come. And Damian Priest, to me, is, all right, he's gained momentum off his victory with Aleister Black, but the way they looked at that slap where he slapped Drew on SmackDown, I got to go with Sami Zayn gets the victory here and goes to the Royal Rumble as the number one contender for Drew's championship.
Listen, congratulations to Drew McIntyre, a guy who honestly has earned everything he has gotten. He's had this particular moment because ever since he was pitted in a scenario where he had to fill in the spot and took an opportunity that pretty much people thought, well, after his first title run was a supposed flop, considering they were dealing with a pandemic, to be given another opportunity to only have it taken away by CM Punk. But in my opinion, doing the best work on the microphone and in the ring of his career, to be awarded that is well-deserved. I'm very happy for Drew McIntyre because, again, nobody has, in my opinion, earned it more than he has and had to dealt with so much and so many curveballs as he has, and still have the audience intrigued and engaged. And you said it yourself, we're seeing him getting booked and losing time and time again. And I was thinking, man, if he loses to Cody one more time, how am I going to believe this character anymore? The character is just a loser, in my opinion. And they went the opposite route. They protected Cody and they gave it to Drew, and Drew rightfully had it. I love those pictures too on social media where he's sleeping with the title and the pillow. Like, that's so good. He's become a master at social media. Really,
such a great troll on social media. So you got that are in this fatal 4-way.
In this fatal 4-way, I would have to agree, Sami Zayn, because listen, I think Trick Williams and Randy Orton have something there that they're going to be addressing in the coming weeks, probably leading towards the Royal Rumble. And so I think it's going to be Sami Zayn. And the odd man out of this whole scenario is, Damian Priest, unfortunately, because it's going to be in Montreal. It's going to be there. It's going to be, sometimes in the scenario, unlike last Saturday night's main event where people complaining, you want to send the crowd home happy. You can't have John Cena lose his last match. Well, if you want the crowd to go home happy, then you have Sami Zayn winning this match, becoming the one contender. That place will go crazy. And it'll be a great atmosphere, too, because he's had success in Canada. Last time I remember the crowd going that crazy for Sami was Elimination Chamber, and that was amazing. And so I think we're going to get some sense of that too. Plus, it's getting more personal between Drew and Sami, where Drew had talked about his son being ashamed of him. So they're kind of letting us think that I think it's going to happen this way because there's so much more story to tell between the two of these guys going into the Royal Rumble. So I would look forward to that. So I got Sami coming out victorious as the number one contender. And again, congratulations to Drew McIntyre, the brand new WWE Undisputed Champion.
And I believe that we were sick at the time. I think I was in full blown.
We were both sick when it happened.
Yeah, and watching that was like, wow. I mean, I'm glad that they were finally did right by Drew because then seeing the week after and seeing him come out in his hometown, just in Europe and everything like that, winning it there too was tremendous. So kudos to Cody and for Drew to kind of pitching this too creative because we kind of thought about WrestlePalooza this could have happened too around that time, but it didn't. And whether you believe that it was Triple H's decision because they didn't want to do Cody and Roman again because of fans being not ready for 3 out of 4 years where this happens and stuff like that, or doing this again, that the fans would kind of just be like wiped out because of it. Whatever the decision was. And I think we should say that again soon down the road. But I think putting the title on Drew just made sense because it changed. It gives different. That road to WrestleMania is a good way. It actually has questions to it because that kind of road was kind of winding, and you kind of had an idea where things were going to be. Now you don't know what's going to happen with Roman. Now you don't know who actually Drew, if he's going to take on Cody again. A lot of speculation to that. People argue that they don't want to see that. People say, okay, that's fine, or maybe add Jacob Fatu to it. They could start building that as far as Saturday Night's Main Event too, where Jacob get involved and be part of that. So we'll see. But I just think by doing that opens doors for more things. And that's where I think where you don't want to be too predictable is in situations like that, because you don't want sometimes the babyface carrying the championship into it. I kind of like seeing WrestleMania where the babyface has to chase it in that aspect. So a lot of things going on, Trendsetter. We're on that road to WrestleMania, man. I'm looking forward to it. Next week we'll have our Royal Rumble preview with a special guest. We'll talk about that. Try to catch up on everything that we missed, and we'll try to do our best. But we are on the road to WrestleMania, the Jersey Wrecking Crew here on HSP and the Give Shot Network. Guys, if you're going to be snowed in today, catch this episode. Catch our live YouTube on the Give Shot Network on Saturday after Saturday Night's Main Event. We will be there on YouTube here on the Give Shot Network, so make sure you catch that. So catch up on all your HSP during the snowstorm, Snowmageddon, and remember, HSP is your home for pro wrestling here on the Give Shot Network. Make sure you hit that subscription, the notification bell. And if you can't also watch us, listen to us. We're on all podcast platforms, and follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. Trendsetter, close it out like you always do. So classy and so sassy. You are Brian, the baddie Trendsetter.
Wow. Again, for 2026, as horrible as it started, it's great to be back in the swing of things of doing this once again. Listen, it slows down for a little bit, but it's never going to stop us because this is a labor of love. And I mean that with all sincerity, because as much as it's tough sometimes and we want to do this as frequently as we want to, I still enjoy doing it no matter what, and it never stops. And to do it with my co-host, Jeff Martin, I am the Trendsetter, Brian Burga. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. And remember, guys, we do this for one reason and one reason only. We do this for you, the crew.